Hello, how are you? Hey, Brian. I was about to say good afternoon, but I think it's more appropriately said good morning. So, good morning, my friend in England. I hope you're doing well today. I hope you had a good day. Yeah, good to see you as well. I'm so sorry that my live streams are so late and so early for you. Uh, I'm going to try to do better about making them earlier as I can. Life is for me after work is it gets really busy when I get home. There's dinner, there's kids, and homework, and all kinds of stuff going on, and sometimes uh, little projects around the house to do. So I don't really get winded down until about this time every evening. So I'll have to do better. I'll have to do better. Maybe start doing some on Saturday mornings where it's maybe midday there or slightly later. But anyway, hope you had a great week. For us here in the United States, tomorrow is Good Friday, so a lot of people don't work on Good Friday. For me, it's a paid holiday, which is really nice. I'm very fortunate to have tomorrow off from my job with pay. The company I work for is really good at taking care of us, so to speak. Benefits and stuff is really done in that respect. So tomorrow I'm off, so I'm going to be going to the Telus Museum with my daughter. She's got a field trip, so I'm going to be attending the Telus Museum with her, and in the same time getting some pictures and hopefully some live stream activity while we're there. So KJ Play Games, how are you? I don't know if we have met. I try really hard to uh, recognize screen names that I've spoken to. I don't know if we've spoken yet, but welcome to the channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate the support. This is a growing channel. It's very new. It's tough. It's tough getting started, and honestly, it's tough in this kind of subject matter because there's so many people out there that have really good information, really good content with aviation and aerospace. So it's tough, kind of getting noticed, I guess. And I'm certainly here because of other people that have helped me grow. So if you're here with me tonight, it's because you're helping me, and I certainly appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate every single person, and I do honestly work very hard to acknowledge people that help me attain anything. And so all of you people have been extremely great at supporting my channel thus far, and again very grateful. Mock, how are you? Brady, how are you? Good to see y'all. Catnap, hello, how are you? Good to see y'all today. Wow, good group of people here tonight. That's fantastic. I hope some of you were able to see the launch of Artemis 2 yesterday, last night. Some of you got to hang out with me and watched it together, and that was just truly thrilling to see that. I believe Artemis 2 right now is preparing for TLI, which stands for Translunar Injection. So basically, that is the maneuver where they'll separate from the service module and fire an engine and head towards the moon. So uh, in about 4 days, we'll probably see some pictures, hopefully some video of the moon from lunar orbit. So I'm really excited about that. That's probably going to be another live stream with all of y'all. So be a lot of fun. Oh, hey, Gina. Great. Good to have you, Gina. Thank you for joining in. Gina is a coworker of mine. So hello from other than work, Gina. Thanks for popping in. That's awesome. So I got some people that I actually work with and know personally on board. So that's great. But so yeah, tomorrow is going to be an interesting day because going to the Tellus Museum. I'll tell you a little bit about the Tellus. It's been around for a long time, actually. It started off as a mineral museum in Cartersville. I can't remember the name of it at that point, uh, but it over the years, I'd say maybe 20 years ago, it was purchased by another group of people, and they combined efforts and turned it into a full science museum. So there's things about dinosaurs and fossils there. There's earth sciences. There's stuff about volcanoes and stuff like that. There are there's a science in motion exhibit, which is my favorite, which you probably understand why. There's cars, trains, and of course, aviation and rocketry and stuff like that. So they do not have, and I'm not trying to talk down towards the museum, but they do not have too much with regard to uh, space flight and stuff that is real hardware. They've got a lot of models. They have a Mercury capsule scale model. They have an Apollo capsule that's a scale model. But even that model Apollo capsule has some historical significance. It was actually used as part of a movie set. So for the Apollo 1, so it looks kind of charred and whatnot. But anyway, it's kind of cool. But they do have a lot of models and stuff that's really neat to look at. But they do have like a cockpit for a Lockheed Jet Stream 2, I believe, that you can look up in. They basically cut the front half of this jet off, and at one time they had, I think, a MiG. I want to say it was a MiG 21 cockpit as well. But anyway, it's gonna be fun. I'm going there with my daughter. Her class is going there, but in the same time, I'm going to be trying to get some footage and videos and enjoy the time while I'm there, and hopefully be a little bit of a tour guide for the class, so to speak. So it's gonna be kind of fun. Yeah, Brian, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It, there's there's some stuff there that I even after this will probably be my 12th or 13th time going to the Tellus Museum. Of over the years, I've held memberships there, and I wore those memberships out. I went like when I lived closer to Atlanta, I'd go there sometimes once a week and whatnot. So I've been there a lot, but honestly, I never get tired of it. It's always good stuff, and they always have like a traveling exhibit as well. And I think they've got one there now that's called Journey to Space. So that'd be something I've never seen before. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think it'll be interesting. Yeah, it's a Brian. It's a membership that you pay yearly, and then if it hasn't changed, you get to go as many times as you like, and you also get discounts on eating there. They've got a nice cafeteria there. You can get some snacks, and they got a really nice gift shop, and I think you get a discount at the gift shop as well. But the greatest thing about the membership is you also get invited to specific members only activities. So, as an example, I got to go one time and see uh, the sun through their telescope. That was phenomenal to actually see the sun through a telescope. Of course, it's a special telescope. You don't want to look through a normal telescope at the sun. You'd probably end up blind. But so we got to see sunspots and stuff and solar flares. It was really neat. So that's so many things that you get to do if you're a member there. And their astronomer that they have on site or on staff is really knowledgeable and really fun. And they also have a planetarium there, which is really cool. But anyway, I'm not going to stay on here too long tonight. Brian, I imagine in England you're probably ready to go to bed. So it's probably 1 a.m. or maybe a little later there for you, my friend. So, but I wanted to give y'all kind of a heads up for tomorrow. So, hopefully, do a live stream from the Tellus Museum. But if not, I'll certainly have some video and some photographs to share of some of the exhibits. And I really hope to get some video of sharing some of this with the kids. That's always a lot of fun. But some people don't like their kids being videoed, so I have to be understanding of that. So I don't want to just start making videos with kids running around me. And so these are young kids too. So second grade. So there'll probably be a lot more classes there too. There'll probably be more classes there. Every time I've gone, I've ended up having a moment to where I get to talk to somebody and share some knowledge, and that's always fun. One time I got talking to three boys about a jet engine cutaway that they have there, which is really neat. Um, and the grandmother that brought them there thought I worked there. I turned around and she was standing behind me, and she asked me how long I'd worked there, and I told her I didn't work there. I'm just walking around talking. So it'll be a lot of fun. 1:50 a.m. in England. Wow. Yeah. Well, Brian, I appreciate you staying up so late to talk to me for a little while, but that's I don't know if I'd make it to 1:50 a.m. That's maybe when I was younger, maybe when I was younger, but today it gets about 10 o'clock. I'm fighting to keep my eyes open. So, but anyway, still working on the six pack video, which is the six primary flight instruments. Um, this I think this is going to be potentially the best video I've done yet. It's coming along rather well, but a lot of information to pack in. So I think instead of trying to pack all the information in, I may divide it up in sections and extend the video out longer. So this one could end up being a 20 to maybe 25-minute video. I try not to get too long because I don't want to. I think some people, even myself, if we're watching something after about 10 minutes, we kind of just fade off. We're not really paying attention and we get bored in the content maybe. So I don't want to make them too long, but I want to make them long enough to explain the information to where people understand what's happening. So anyway, you're like an owl. Yeah, yeah. So I understand. Yeah. When I was younger and worked at Delta, I was like that. I rarely slept. It seemed like I could stay awake for days. And I remember I'd work all day and I'd come home and work on my car and all through the night, and then get up the next morning, after an hour or two of sleep and go back to work and felt fine. I don't think I could do that today. 8:49, Gina. Uh, oh, that's awesome, Gina. I really appreciate you taking some time away from your afternoon and hanging out with me for a minute. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. I tell you what, if you're doing something like this and you got coworkers that have to put up with you every day during the week, and then essentially on their Friday, they go home and get on their phone and their computer and are tuning into a live stream of their coworker. I tell you what, that means a lot. Thank you, Gene. I appreciate that. Okay, Mark, you're at a party. Off and on. Okay, Mark. Well, I'm glad you stopped in. I get it. Certainly don't stop life for because of me. Hope you're safe wherever you're at and at this party. So whatnot. But have you done any flying lately? I meant to ask you that last time. I'm interested in your flying. I know you've shared some information about. I believe you're flying a 172. So um, always interested in hearing what you're doing. I know we through Mike, I've got in touch with some younger people that have joined Civil Air Patrol, which is fabulous. I'm glad that they chose that route. Um, but every once in a while, I get a little message from them indicating what they're doing, where they're at in the Civil Air Patrol Cadet program, and how they're doing. I think that's really great. I I enjoy helping young people um, make choices in their life. And I think if you're a young person and you have the ability, if you're here in the United States, you have a great opportunity by joining the Civil Air Patrol, which is the official civilian auxiliary of the Air Force. And speaking of Air Force, Gina, who my coworker who's listening in tonight, is a Air Force veteran and well deserving of our praise and honor. So thank you, Gina, for doing what you've done, and you're a great person, great coworker too. I enjoy it when you're not at work. I'm ready to go home. So I appreciate all you do. So no flying since Saturday, Mark. Okay, well, do you fly once a week? That's what I used to do. I not because I didn't want to, but I really couldn't get a whole lot in because as if you remember my story in the beginning of this channel, I used to cut grass in order. I used to cut grass in exchange for flying lessons. So it took a lot more time cutting grass than I could imagine. So I didn't get but one flying lesson, and that was always on a Saturday. And then sometimes I get to that Saturday and the weather was bad, so sometimes I didn't fly for a week or two. So I flew certainly um, as much as I could, and I wanted to fly more. And occasionally I got some rides with other people, and so that's not really flight training, but I did get to ride around, so I did get to fly occasionally. Sometimes I was lucky, just at the right place at the right time, and somebody was flying and had an extra seat for me to jump in and fly. So that was always a lot of fun, and that's where I got the opportunity to fly in a lot of different airplanes. So Mike posted a video um, earlier, I think or it was yesterday, I believe, of the Chipmunk. I actually got a chance to fly Chipmunk one time. Great flying airplanes, very docile, very graceful flying airplanes. They're not speed demons by no means. They're not very fast, but they are just truly fun airplanes to fly. Yeah, I think I'd probably consider it more fun today, being older, than I did back in my younger days. I was probably about 17 or 18 when I got to fly that Chipmunk. So interesting, cool stuff. Yeah, Gina, you're welcome. Um, Always a pleasure. Thank you for all you do, all you have done. Okay, so you fly 2 to 3 times a month. Okay, great. That's a pretty good routine. Yeah, yeah, and that was uh, I. So you've got 2 or 3 years, you say, before you get your license. So I'm assuming. I'm just going to assume. I hate assuming, but I'm going to assume here that you're a few years short of 16 to get your license. And that was exactly the way I was. So when I started flying, I was as a pilot. I was only 11, and so I had several years to learn and get experience because there was absolutely no way I could speed the time up. To turn 16. So I had plenty of time, and really, I think some people when they learn to fly, they get in a hurry. They really try to speed up, to get it as quickly as they can. And uh, I I recommend going at your own pace. Don't push yourself because that's when accidents start happening. That's when the risk management comes into play. Really pay attention to how you feel. I've known people get in an airplane not feel good And to me, that's risky. If you don't feel 100% and you don't feel healthy, don't get in an airplane. If the weather is not all that great, it could be better. And all you're doing is flying for fun. You're not. There's really no purpose or anything making you have to go. Um, that weather, we can wait on weather too. Let's not push ourselves in our aircraft to become a statistic. And I've seen so many of these YouTube pilots, which I really love. There was a young lady from Tennessee recently killed, or not recently, but within the last 2 or 3 years. She had a great following on YouTube and whatnot, but she crashed and not only killed herself, but her dad as well. So there's been some of these YouTube pilots go down, and sometimes I often wonder why. Why are these talented pilots crashing? And I think it's because they're driven to make videos, and they're driven to. And please, if there's some out there that are listening, and I'm not trying to insult you, but make safety always their priority. If you're tired, if you're feeling sick, if your airplane is not um, I won't really say airworthy, but no one's going to get in an unairworthy airplane. But if the airplane is just not perfect, if your difference between your magnetos is slightly more than 50 RPM, don't chance it. Get the airplane looked at, and have a mechanic do what they're supposed to do. You can't treat flying like you get in a car and just drive down the road, where if you get sick, you can pull over in a gas station and someone can come and help you. And, if you get a flat tire, you can pull over. You can't pull an airplane over. Maybe not, at least not right now. But even though aviation is certainly safer than it used to be, and we have auto land systems and stuff like that, I think it's still important that we fly as safe as possible. Oh, 3 hours outside of license eligibility. Oh, okay. Well, that's a big difference. So, okay, 3 hours. Well, you're getting close, and that is fabulous. So, what do you feel like what do you have? What do you have left to work on? Is there anything in particular that you're kind of focused on right this second? And flight training is just as diverse as the people who fly, because the way I learned to fly and the way you learn to fly are probably completely different, because we have different people teaching us to fly with different ideas and thoughts. And CFIs, certified flight instructors, have the ability to come up with their own curriculum if they're, unless it's a part of a school. Uh, so I always found that fascinating. Somebody on their first flight lesson, they may have done just simple. They kind of followed through on the controls and did the takeoff with the pot with the CFI, and then they get up and they'll do some simple banks. And then I've heard people say, "Oh, I was doing stalls on my on my first flight." So it's interesting what people do and how differently it is. Okay, 15 years old. Okay, great. That's awesome. Okay, you know what? But Mark, look at it this way. That might be disappointing, and I'm sorry that that's happened to you. Uh, but you made the right decision. You not put the focus on the time and getting your license when you're 16, but you're allowing yourself extra time to make sure that you have everything down. And that, kudos to you, because not many people your age would be willing to wait. I was one of those that I really, uh, I had to really hold myself back sometimes, and I think my dad probably held me back more than I did. Um, I got locked into a mindset when I was like about your age that I was ready. And my dad's like, "You're overconfident. You need to calm down and you need to focus on what you're doing." And he was right. He really was. So the good thing is I have an older son that has ADHD, and you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And so I will say this: have you already attained your medical certificate? Because if you haven't, um, you may want to, because my son takes medication. Make sure that any type of medications you take for anything is still eligible. You're still eligible to get your medical certificate. There are certain medications that can disqualify you. So be careful with that. I know there's like some blood pressure medications. There's a list of things that could potentially disqualify you from getting a third class medical. So make sure that you're talking to someone. You could probably Google it. And just make sure it's from a reputable source. But yeah, make sure that whatever, if you're taking anything, and I'm not going to ask you if you are or what you're taking, but if you ever take, and this goes for anyone that has any dreams of flying, before you take anything other than a over the counter like aspirin or Tylenol, any prescription medications, make sure that they won't interfere with your medical certificate. So just keep that in mind. You may also contact an aviation medical examiner, an AME, in your area. You should be able to find those on the FAA website through a search. Uh, Call one of them and just ask them, hey, what things do I need to make sure that my doctor doesn't prescribe to me, and just stay on it like that. So yeah, good deal. Mark, I'm proud of you. That sounds like you've got it all planned out, and you're headed in the right direction. That's fabulous. Brian, you still with me? Okay, that's good. Do I think the Concorde will fly again? Well, I think that an aircraft with the same characteristics as the Concorde, and the characteristics being supersonic airspeed. I think supersonic travel is certainly on the horizon. I think we're going to start seeing um, aviation push to the edge of the envelope again. I certainly hope that we see aircraft that travel faster, further, higher, kind of like we did back in the '60s and '70s, more so the '60s. But um, I think I think the Concorde was a beautifully designed and just really a beautiful aircraft. It was truly just legendary. When you look at an airplane like the Concorde today, and it still looks like it's on the edge of technology, that tells you a lot about the aircraft. And unfortunately, the concerns of the Concorde were fuel efficiency and safety related, and of course that horrible crash um, kind of sped up the uh, the path for it to be retired, because any bad accident like that is certainly going to bring everything to the public eye. But the aircraft for what it was absolutely amazing, and I think today's technology could take an aircraft like the Concorde and go well beyond what the Concorde was, and make it safer and more fuel efficient. So I think right now it's just maybe it hasn't, that particular topic hasn't really sunk in with some of the aircraft manufacturers. I think Boeing is currently working on a supersonic air transport aircraft of some sort. I think it's just in the design phase. I don't think a prototype or anything is flown, but I think we'll see something in the future. I hope we do, and I hope I get a chance to take part and fly on it, because I would have loved to have flown on the Concorde. I think that would have been amazing, but missed out on that. Another opportunity I could have possibly have taken part in, and missed out. So okay, yeah. So right now you're just trying to get settled and building hours. That's great. That's great. Yeah, ATC is intimidating. Even today, one thing you have to realize when you're talking ATC is that they're not there to hurt you; they are there to help you. And the biggest thing is, just you have to kind of anticipate what they're going to say. And if you fly out of the same airport, you kind of get used to the controllers and their mannerisms and how they typically have you come in and out of the airspace. So I flew most of my controlled airspace was either at the airport. It's called Fulton County Airport, Brownfield. It's just northwest of Atlanta. I also flew some out of PDK, which is Peachtree DeKalb. It's in uh, northeast Atlanta, northeast of Atlanta, and also Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is obviously just right there on the Georgia border, uh, and Tennessee border. But those over time, those three airports, I could literally get to where I knew exactly what they were going to say before they said it. I anticipated it. But when I was really young, 11, 12 years old, and the first time I ever flew into a controlled airport was at Chattanooga. And yeah, I was so intimidated. I was scared to death. And my flight instructor was coaching me. He's like, "All right, this is what you're going to say," and he was telling me what to say back to the controller and what it meant if I got confused because sometimes I do speak fast. But he told me to do something, and it's much more easier to do this today. But he told me, he said, when you get home tonight, he said, I want you, because I live near Atlanta, and I could sit on my front porch with a radio, and I could listen to the inbound northern inbound traffic to Atlanta. I could listen to the air traffic controllers, and I would just listen to them. And I got really good at listening, really good and understanding what they were saying. Oh, my light just turned off. But listening to like liveatc.net is a good example. You can stream it on your phone and just listen, and you can listen to the airport you want to listen to. So pick an airport the airport you fly out of a lot, and hopefully they'll have that available on liveatc.net. Listen to your own airports and listen to the controllers and whatnot. That's going to help you. But over time, of course, and certainly once you get your license, you're going to start traveling. You'll fly to airports you've never been to, but by that time you'll be comfortable and you'll be able to kind of you'll have a good understanding of what are the possibilities, what are the possible um, things that they may say and request from me, and how to interact with the controllers. Um, they are not there to do anything except for to help you, and some of them are kind of grouchy, but some of them are super, super just great at what they do. They're very helpful. And even if you never become an IFR pilot, but you want to just be a VFR pilot, you don't get an instrument rating, you can still utilize um, controllers to help you using VFR flight following, stuff like that. So it's it's a it's a good it's a good thing to understand as best you can and utilize when you're able to, because they can always see more than you can. And so if you get disoriented and you're flying around at night, you get disoriented, you're a little confused. Um, a lot of people are ashamed to admit that they've messed up and they won't call for help. But I always um, I had what they call a flip flop radio, so it had a primary and a standby frequency. Most modern radios do the same, but I always had on the standby side. I always had the whatever center I was flying in that airspace, and that was the reason. Is because if I got into trouble, I could call them and ask for help, and so they are there to help. But good luck with that, And if there's anything I can help, maybe answer some questions or something with regard to ACT, I'm going to make a video about air traffic control communications. I'm going to do. It won't be the first one, but first I'm going to do is non-controlled airport communication from startup to taxi, takeoff, flying the pattern, and coming back in for a landing. And then we'll do more like the same thing, but at a controlled airport, and then we'll do like if you're taking a trip and you're flying under a controller from center to center and stuff like that. So we'll uh, we'll go through that process, and maybe that'll help a little bit. Ground control, yeah. Ground control. I think I'd rather talk to the tower than the ground. No offense to any ground controllers out there, but the ground controllers, I think, especially at larger airports, they are extremely busy. They never get a break. There's planes taxiing, they're moving the gates, they're pushing back. You get problems on the ground. Planes get blocked in, and they're trying to move airplanes, and airplanes won't move. And there's some YouTube videos out there of ground controllers getting really upset with aircraft because they're not listening, and so one airplane can cause the entire system to just kind of crash. So I try to be understanding about that. Those guys have a lot, and girls, those people have a lot going on, and so they can be a little um, rude sometimes because not because they're trying to be, but just or they're not rude, but they're just kind of aggravated already. They can be sound aggravating because of something that's happened in the past. But here's one thing I do recommend, and maybe your flight instructor told you this: when you call ground and you want clearance to taxi to the active to depart, let them know you're a student. Always do that. So an example would be instead of just saying, Atlanta ground, Grumman 28 Lima at such and such with information Alpha ready to depart. Instead of saying just that, say Atlanta ground, student pilot, Grumman 28 Lima, and then continue your thing. Because if they know you're a student, they will help you. They will slow their talking down. They won't speak so fast. They'll give you progressive, even if you don't necessarily ask for it, but they can give you progressive taxi instructions. And that's really, I'll be honest with you, I request that even, I don't care where I'm at. And what that does is instead of saying, all right, taxi to the active via Alpha, left at Delta, turn right at Charlie, hold short. And instead of doing all that, giving you all that information at once, and you're trying to write it down on your knee pad, they will give you a step at a time. They'll say, taxi to the active via Alpha, hold at something. And you get to there, and then they'll tell you the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And to me, that that is one of the best. So, so you're okay. Maybe I misunderstood you, Bob. So, so you do not have a tower. So you're not at a controlled airport where you're at. So, um, explain to me then why what the difficulty is with ground. I think I misunderstood you. I'm sorry. I just gave you a bunch of information. It doesn't matter. I'm so sorry. I gotta so I'm going back up. It says you struggle a bit with talking with ground. Okay, so can you give me an example? Yeah, Brian, the Concorde was exactly a delta wing. Very good. So because of the delta wing, it did not have an elevator. So the ailerons and the flaps in the elevator were combined with kind of in a mixed setup. So uh, the aileron, probably the flaps and the elevators worked together, and then the ailerons were probably their own flight control. But it's a very today it's probably not complex at all, but back in those days it was very complex. Um, Mixing flight controls is pretty difficult. In fact, the airplane that I shared with well, I didn't share it with y'all the other day. I told you about it, but I didn't share it. The airplane that I designed back in high school is a tandem wing airplane. So the flaps on the front wing, the flaps and the elevator are combined, and on the back on the aft wing, the ailerons and the flaps are combined. So um, it's an interesting setup to make it work, but it's really cool though. If you can get it all aligned and rigged correctly, it's really cool. All right, Mark. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm asking you to do things, and you're at a party. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, well, enjoy your party. Uh, be safe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping in, man. I really appreciate it. Hey, CB, how are you? CB is in the house. Good to see you, CB. Would y'all like to see the airplane I designed back in high school? I'll have to walk over here and get it. Let me forewarn you. This is not a finished model. It still has a lot of work to do. I built this model because I have a friend who's an aerospace engineer, and I wanted to share the design. And so I shared the drawings, and then I think sometimes drawings don't really go as far as showing representing the design. So I built this wooden model out of balsa and some birch ply, and I've still got to do some final sanding before I paint it. But I'd be glad to show it to y'all if you're interested. Just don't be too rough on me. One, I'm not the best modeler, and it's still a work in progress. But if you're interested in seeing it, I'll be glad to share it with you. So it looks like just you and Brian now, CB, which I'm completely fine with. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. CB, I don't know how, I don't know exactly when you chimed in. It looks like probably just now. So I was explaining to the others that tomorrow I'm going to the Tellus Science Museum in Cartersville, Georgia, and there's a great exhibit there called Science in Motion, and they have some pretty neat uh, space and aviation exhibits. So I plan to show those off, and I hope to do a live stream from there and show you firsthand what the museum's like. And it's a really beautiful museum. It's really, really nice stuff. So anyway, I hope to bring some of that to y'all tomorrow, and that'll probably be. This is probably more important for you guys since y'all are not near where I'm at, but that's probably going to be probably around lunchtime, my time. So 5 o'clock for you, Brian, and I'm not exactly sure what the time difference, if there is any, for UCB, but oh, cool, helicopter pilot. You know, I've always had a fascination with helicopters. I have never flown a helicopter. I have ridden in helicopters. I worked with a company one time that had a Bell 407, and beautiful helicopter, and so I got to fly in it a couple of times. But I've always wanted to fly a helicopter. I've flown in not Bells. I'm sorry, Robinson R-22. I've flown in a Robinson R-44. Um, and my son and I, my older son Christian, and I plan to fly in a UH-1 Huey this summer, and I will be live streaming that, of course. But ought to be a lot of fun. But yeah, helicopters are fabulous. Uh, my good friend Rick Young was a Huey pilot in Vietnam, and he used to tell me some amazing stories. And he had a saying that I always thought was really funny. He told me that helicopters do not fly; they beat the air into submission. And I thought that was really cool. So okay, Gina. Yeah, thank you for hanging out. That was a lot of fun. You probably heard a lot of things that don't matter, but I'm glad you entertained me with your presence and whatnot. And you stay here long enough, Gina, I'm going to have you wanting to get your pilot's license. So thanks a lot. Yeah, have a great holiday. Have a safe weekend, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday morning. Sea Kings, yeah. Wow, that's a big boy. That's a big helo. Yeah, good stuff. I think it's hard for me to have a favorite helicopter, but I will say this. I've always thought the Bell 222 was just a unbelievable, great looking helicopter. And it's an old helicopter. It's no longer in production. It was built. Um, you know, I think it was more of a time of the 70s and 80s, and there's probably a couple still flying. But the Bell 222 to me was just a really sleek machine, and I really liked it. That was probably one of my favorite ones. The Sky Baby. I think the Sky Baby is pretty a neat airplane. The capabilities of a plane that's so small is pretty amazing. I don't know if I'd want to fly it. Like now, if I was given a chance to fly, absolutely. But I don't know if it would fit my. I don't think it would be exactly my flavor of aircraft, so to speak. I think I'd want something a little bit larger. But it would be neat to fly, wouldn't it? It would certainly be a neat airplane. And I would love to talk to someone who's flown it because and I think I've said this in the past. I would really like to know how it flies as far as the characteristics. Does it have you know, what kind of roll rate does it have? What kind of rudder effectiveness and stuff it has? So I think it'd be interesting to see how well it flies, being so small. Yeah, trying to fit in it would be difficult. Even me, I'm 5'4", but that yeah, it'd be a tight fit for sure. I got to do something with this light. I've got a light that it works off a timer and senses motion, and it works great for everything but doing this. So I think I'm gonna have to make a disconnect switch where I can turn it on all the time or leave it off all the time because the timing device is not working well with YouTube purposes. Or Brian and folks, I show that there's two people on here with us. I think I'm going to call it and get inside and get things ready for tomorrow. Got to get some, got to get a lunch made to go with me to the museum tomorrow, and I've got to charge up some power packs to take with me and get my. I think I'm gonna take my wireless microphone so I can have it on my shirt rather than using the microphone on the phone. So anyway, everyone have a great night. Thanks for joining in. It's always a pleasure to sit here and talk about aviation with y'all. Um, some of you, I think it is just me and you, Brian. Um, Not too sure, but anyway, certainly appreciate you spending some time. Appreciate you staying up so late. Wow, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. Uh, but certainly, certainly appreciative. I'm never going to forget that. I can do a lot of things, but one thing I can't do is do this channel alone. It doesn't nothing really nothing in life you can do alone. You might feel like you're doing it alone, but there's always people that contribute and help. And I think it's important um, that we understand that. Um, Everything I do is done by you know the gracious help of others and whatnot. And y'all could certainly be doing other things with your time than sitting here listening to me rant and rumble about airplanes and spacecraft. But and that's what's great about this community is we have uh, a common interest in talking about this interest is exciting and fun for all of us, and I think it's it's a lot of fun, a lot of fun. So thank you, Brian, for uh, tuning in. Every time I post something or every time I am on a live stream, you're always there, and I want you to know I've noticed that, and I thank you a lot for that because it's really hard to find time sometimes to take part in people's channels and stuff. But there's a handful of y'all that are always there, and I really appreciate that. But Yeah, you as well, Brian. Definitely stay blessed. Be safe. Uh, collaborate at night. Yeah, I would like to collaborate with you and Mike at some point in the future. I sure would. I think me and Mike need to figure out how to make that work. I might be able to have a little bit more flexibility. Monday, I'm getting a new internet system here in my house. I'm gonna spend some money with SpaceX and get a Starlink system. It should be delivered Monday. It actually already was delivered, but the unit I received was did not function. So I'm having to send it back, and they're sending me a new one. But once I get that, then I can sit here with my laptop and my actual. I have a camera in front of me that's mounted on a stand, and so I won't have to use my phone for live streams. And it's got a wider angle lens. You'll be able to see the entire wall, and I think it'll be a lot more fun, a little bit easier. And then I'll have all my comments projected on a screen so that I don't have to do this to read. I'll be able to see what people are saying as they're saying, and hopefully collaborate and interact better than speaking a little bit and leaning into the phone and whatnot. So, but anyway, thanks again, Brian. I appreciate you. I really do. I'm gonna get off here. If anyone else is out there, I think I'm just showing one now, so it's just down to you, Brian. But appreciate everybody. Certainly appreciate you, Brian, and hopefully I will see you back on live stream sometime midday tomorrow at the Telus Museum in Cartersville, Georgia. So enjoyed it. Thank you for everything. Have a great night, and we'll see you very soon.